Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. All right, so it's Monday. I'm feeling a lot better. Let's go in and grab our links first of all. It's not bad. Not bad. Okay. And this one. Okay. There we go. And there we go. Okay, so let's review. On Friday, we had a pretty significant move up on the poor jobs report that quickly petered out here. So if we really come in here on the 10-year, you can see that we're hitting up against some long-term resistance there. So should have known better, but the jobs report was bad and they were unfinished up there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us retest it. That said, the overnight, Sunday and the overnight was just incredibly, I mean, you can see the range here, just only 8 ticks or so. And let's see here, let's count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 ticks. 10 tick overnight range. Not too good. Pretty range bound. Another thing that we're doing, something that I've changed is I'm looking at ADX. That seems to be pretty good indication about where we are trend-wise. Kind of interesting here. Oh, sorry, ADX, that's cumulative delta. So we're here when we get above, 20 or so is when we're really trending, but gonna need to mess around with it a little bit. So, yeah, I think I need to, if we come in here into indicators and mess with it a little bit and say, how about what if it's 5? Make it a little bit more responsive, for instance. We'll see. But then you really got to get above 35 to really say that it's like a trend. But we'll see how that works out. Also do it the other way. Like, what if I said, what if I said past 100 bars? No, well, that's way too slow. 30. Yeah. You notice here that it tells you that, hey, this trend was much more important than this trend. And I have to do a little bit of back testing and figure out where we want to take that. I think for now, 15 is probably a little bit more. There you go. So yeah, so we're messing with that. Ah, yes. And then today, we really need to pull up our tape. Where is it? Here it is. Just gonna pop it out here, and we're gonna bring it over here. I think you should be able to see those numbers. Okay, so there's the open, they bought it. Well, we'll leave that at 0 for now. And in fact, we'll move it up here like that. There you go. So you should be able to see that. Is that good? Yeah. I'll move the controls up here so that you don't have to see that. You just want to see those numbers. Good deal. Because gonna have some crazy stuff going on today in Bitcoin. Down significantly overnight. Failed to break through that 10K. Probably we need to distribute here, but we'll see if some buying comes back in. Anyways. But for right now, we are definitely in range-bound mode. Simply by the fact that we haven't moved that much overnight. What else we got going on here? Kraken is returning some errors. Continue to see some currency moves. Well, JPY moved down quite a bit, but they're not really reacting. Well, they're buying up in here. It's definitely all buying. Oh, by the way, for the Patreon subscribers, I was able to get the notes up early. So you can go ahead and take a look at that. Equities kind of does have a look like maybe they want to test lower. After the move up they had on Friday. They had a move up on Friday for sure, didn't they? Not much volume coming through here. Level 2 playing back and forth though. 21 would be okay. A couple of orders hit that and it actually has firmed up. Okay. So there was a little bit of a pull there. Now they're going to hit it. Okay. Reasonably okay bid. And you can see the DOM rearranging itself. I think that we could get a few ticks out of this. There was a little bit of backflow too, which I think in this case is good. Cool. Low latency streaming now in beta. Let's see. Okay, well, we'll try it. Okay, so they were able to, there was a pretty good sell there, but the buyers are pushing back. I think that we've still got enough support to stay in the trade, but that wasn't good. That was not favorable. Unfavorable for sure, but I do like that we're getting almost 2K putting on here. That could firm up a little bit. I would be happy. There you go. ZB is now pushing highs. That is the high. So touched it several times now, so I'm gonna have to say weak high, pretty good probability of going through here. Like that's weak. Okay. Selling there in the Bitcoins, huh? Enough to justify changing your size here. Oh yeah, look at that. See all the big cells? That's what we want to, that's what we care about. Okay, good tick up. Good tick up, firm up. Yep, there we go, good. I'm not seeing any strong movement in the spreads yet. I do find it curious though that we're pushing up. I think once we get to, you know, like high of the day here in ZN, then you start to get you're probably going to have some defense somewhere around here. So we're going to have to watch really careful for indications that this move is pewtered out. But there could be people, longer term players, try and come in and push us down once we get up to the highs. But if we touch that 23, so there's only 8 contracts there, or there was. If we get up to that 23, we could break out. Then we do have a little bit of room to move. And I think that like at 25, so right here would be a reasonable target. Although lately we just haven't been reaching the targets, have we? Now, since this move has started, the E-mini has been moving down. So we're going to have to watch that carefully as well, because if the E-mini decides that it's done, then I think that we have to say we're done on this trade. Well, there's a pretty thick bid there. Okay, now they're hitting it. Well, that offer keeps pulling. There you go, another good bid. And they're hitting it, yeah. Well, now the ADX is telling us that we are getting a little bit of a trend here. Okay, so the offer is a little bit more than the bid. We have seen orders go through both sides. This is big offer here in ZF. Looks like that's holding us back a little bit. Here, okay, that was a strong tick down in ZB, but it's fighting, and we absorbed here in the 10-year. So, I like that tick. I like that tick a lot. I'm going to reset right here. Just do that so that everything looks all neat. Okay, that time it ticked down. Pretty good size put on it. A little bit of fighting. Not a super strong bid here in the 10-year. We might want to just take it off here. Okay, 15. Want to see some go through at 22.5. Okay. It's holding, and they got a good bid here in ZB. The really ZF is the one that we got to get to tick up here and start attacking 16 3/4. $16 Pac-Mans, right? That's what we're calling you, right? 16 packs. Because it looks like a Pac-Man. Okay, so now the bid is stronger than the offer. And we got to tick up in ZF. And a few orders hitting it. Okay, now equal here in ZB. Okay, that ticked up as well. They're going to take it in ZN. It looks a little reluctant to get the buyers to take it, but I think they're going to do so. Okay, good bid. They're definitely going to take it. They actually went a little too far in ZF that time. They did take... Oh, the overnight high is 172. Okay. I thought that they had ticked 172 and then ticked back. So you don't want to get, when ZF goes too far, has a tendency to go too far sometimes. We have to take it off. No, I think that's good. Okay, they ticked back down. Pretty good offer that time on the down tick. 21. Yeah. No interest yet there in the ZB. In selling it, that is no sell side interest. Okay. We are getting some wild ticks here now. That's interesting. They're not offering up much here either. So now buyers are being cautious. It might be a signal for us. This is still weak. Yeah, equal now. Okay, so they took it up, but it wasn't a strong bid. Given that the overnight range was small, I don't know. I really think that they're going to take out the high, but I do think based on everything that I'm looking at here, well, ADX says it was a pretty strong trend. Yeah, it was a pretty good. It was an okay trend. Okay, so there's an uptick again. We gotta be careful. We gotta be looking for the exit, I think. But I do think that they could break the high at the very least. Mm-mm-mm. Good bid. Here, this offer is pretty weak, but there's a. I think that 24 is going to be more difficult to get through. They're acting to me like they don't really know how far it's going to go. Like, I don't see targets showing up or anything. Jack says he's falling asleep here. It has been, well, I mean, granted, when you look at the tick chart, it's been a pretty decent move up, but it has been somewhat slow, and there hasn't been a ton of back and forth. It's kind of more like it just ticks up all at once, especially early on. That's what we were getting. So I understand the sleepiness. I mean, this has been a slow trend, and that's why I think we need to continue to be vigilant that maybe that this will, maybe we can only get 4 on this. I think where we're at right now, though, is pretty good. By the way, here in Bitcoin, you can still see big sellers coming in. The delta is almost negative 70. Negative 70 Bitcoins. So sellers are, people are still selling. It can be a question of how much can buyers hold. I mean, that was a pretty good move overnight, though. We usually don't see like 2 moves like that in a day, so they might be done selling. They might have to come back a little bit in Bitcoin. Okay, so good uptick, but I'm not okay. Offer pulled there. Not super strong. I don't think that one's gonna hold. Unless the ZF goes too. You notice that it's been going ZB, ZF, and then ZN? Let's see. Okay, so there's ZF. And now ZN, they're buying into it, but they're not really stacking. I mean, they're not really rushing in, are they? Okay, so now a big offer is showing up in ZF. But they are hitting it. Okay, here's a ZN, another good tick. And stops that time actually. Okay. And plenty of interest in ZF at the high of the day. I should edit that. That should be 25. 119, 2250. Okay, so bid not quite, well, okay, 2000. They are struggling a little bit here. There's ZF again ticking up. Not a huge bid. Okay, there you go. Can you take this 25 too? Okay, so stops again that time, but fighting. And 24 is where the big order is. So I think that they're going to tick up again. You can see some profit taking here. So now is where we really got to be vigilant. Okay, 13, 16. Okay, good. No, we're gonna take a profit right here. Okay, and ZF came down a bit there too. Okay. Out. Well, I'm going to let it move around here, but 5 ticks is really good for a Monday. I might just leave it at that. Okay, so they ticked up again, but they weren't able to get a strong bid on it. One thing that we could see is a level break. But I'm just going to let it do its thing here because there's a high volume node at 25. So if you did take it here, we could move back to the 25. You know, so that you have like 2 ticks of reward here. But if we come back, it's going to have to come back to about 22. So you've got, you know, about 3 ticks the other way. Now, if it comes back to 22 and we still see some indications of buying, then I might try and take it there at that point. Okay, so right there, that may have been the level break setup. It's also, even though we've had a trend up, it's been a slow bubble up trend. They've been really tepid up here. And it was tepid enough that it convinced me to jump out. So, yeah, I normally I would be really happy about a level break trade right there. But I don't think that we have enough probability to justify the risk reward involved here. Maybe if our upside targets were a little higher. Okay, well that ZF ticked up there and ZN really firmed up. And we're getting this, you know, first ZB, then ZF, and ZN is reluctant. So I may not take another trade here, but I definitely want to pay attention to see if we can see the signal that they've exhausted themselves. So if that happens, you might see something like a ton of volume goes through at 24 and maybe even rush through 24.5, and then maybe we would see it. Okay, so that offer at 24 in the 10-year is holding strong. They definitely want to be filled. ZF came back. 5-year came back. The 30-year is looking is looking pretty balanced right there. The 300 by 300, and there's been almost 300 have gone through both ways too. Now there is a target up at 144 even. Okay, so now they've definitely absorbed enough there at 23.5 to try a level break trade. If I had held on to that, then maybe, and I would think that I would not have held on to it that long. But you know, if I had it at this point, maybe I would keep it and see if they get out. In fact, I might even start putting in the orders on the expectation that they're going to do it, and because if they do a level break, sometimes that comes back on you really quickly. So.
Block buy.
Okay, so there it was right there. That was the level break. We did not see stop orders. So, given that we didn't see stop orders, this could continue. Yep, especially now that we're seeing buyers holding it here at 24. I think sellers are going to try and hit that a little more aggressively first. I think you take your profits and okay. So that one was quite short-lived, but it's not a strong offer at 24. Maybe if they get above 2. Nope. So if I had been long, I would maybe be looking to get out here at the 24 and be concerned about getting filled. Especially if this ZF ticks down here. It actually looks pretty strong though. Okay, so there's the ZF ticks down. This looks strong, and Z, actually, I take that back. Now I suddenly am not so enthralled. I'm just looking here at the spreads to see if maybe there's an opportunity here. We definitely had steepening throughout that move. We've definitely had buying throughout this. One of the problems I see is that the E-mini has ticked up. But given that we've had a relatively good uptrend here, the E-mini may be preparing to sell on the open. It's a hard call. Oh, so Dave asks, are you on real trading yet? Well, so we were on live trading for a while, and we happened to go into live trading in a period that was definitely not my kind of trade, and so we hit too much of a drawdown. So at this point, I'm definitely working towards going, being able to trade that account again. Like, I still have the account, I'm just not using it. And I think that in order to justify using that again, I really need to work on kind of these ranges and my exits. So far today, having taken it off at 23 halves, yeah, I was wondering how you were recovering after my meltdown. Yeah, well, so on that, and I'd have to pull back up my sets. I don't want to do that right now to show you the day. There was a day much earlier than that I really think was like my first meltdown, and it wasn't even necessarily meltdown, but I just really poor trading that day, and that really hurt the the account. And after that, I could only afford another big one of those, and so I was basically had been kind of, bouncing around and just kind of breaking even for a long time, almost like 2 weeks, I think, and then I had the meltdown. and then since then, it's been like, what, 2 weeks since that. I was just like, last week felt like I was just not doing very well, like not even just not trading very well, because when you don't trade well, maybe it's the action, and we've had some tough action, but I also think that just my interpretation of things and my emotional state didn't seem very positive last week, and so we used that to, 2 Fridays ago, that's right. Yep, that was the one where I really did, that was the meltdown. That was when it was like, I know I can't trade this account anymore. Yeah, anyways, last week I kind of used that time to go a little experimental instead, and I think we learned a couple of things there, so I don't know, but then you come and you look at this week, and this morning I feel great this morning, and I played that trade really cautiously. I didn't get in until it was at the 21, so until it was like right at the VWAP. I was watching it every tick, and we just happened to continue to see the buying pressure, and it was good. Yeah. I don't know if I was depressed. I don't know. I kind of feel like that a big loss doesn't necessarily faze me anymore. I wouldn't say depressed, but I think that emotionally, and not just emotionally, but just like my overall physical body was tired, and that was maybe what led to the breakdown in the poor trading rather than the other way around. You know what I mean? So it's like maybe I didn't get enough sleep, and I was just okay. Now that was a strong uptick right there, and there is some buying in CF. So maybe they're going to try and take 24.5 now. I'm still kind of in. I don't know about this one. I don't think that the reward really makes sense for me here. That was a pretty good buy though. But yeah, today I woke up. I think I got to bed pretty early. It was like earlier than my body expected, so I woke up several times in the middle of the night, but I woke up, I felt pretty refreshed. One of the things that I pay attention to is like how long does it take me to shower, because I tend to take a long shower. And I was like ready and eating breakfast like 10 minutes earlier than I normally do. So I was able to come in. I had eaten everything. I had already posted my cryptocurrency notes and like everything, and I was done and still ready to start streaming at 7:15. So I think that helps a lot today. Yeah. So we gotta watch that. Something that I've noticed. Oh, that's right. So since I don't think that the risk reward here is super great, I'm gonna kind of step away. I found something for journaling. What was it called? I was kind of messing around with it because I wanted something that I could search through a little bit better, you know? Penzu. That's what it was called. Penzu. So it's something that I've noticed has happened to me numerous times now, is that when I am getting to the end of my weightlifting cycle, and that is where we are taking heavy lifts on to prime your nervous system to lift heavy. So at that point, we've already built the strength, and now we're trying to get the, you know, muscle recruitment. So your muscle strong, now it's about convincing the whole muscle to contract. And you take a lot of heavy lifts, and it's really tough on your system. And then we have a deload week, and when that happens, then your system, your nervous system recovers during that period and overcompensates. And so then when you go into the meet, you really just are like bouncy, and you know, you really hit it. And then I've noticed that I've had some bad trading around those times. But I don't know how many times, and I know that I've traded okay during those times too. So I think that I need to start keeping track of that a little bit better. And not only that, but, you know, because normally I would want to use futures.io for that, right? But I needed something that I could like really search through and stuff like that. So we're going to try this Penzu thing and see if that will allow us to do it a little bit better. So I'll save that. And when we get tags. Oh, you have to pick their special plan to do that, so. Well, maybe I need to keep searching then. I want something that I need to be where I can tag it so I can say, okay, today, you know, I didn't sleep very well. So it can go through and search for all of the days that I didn't sleep very well and see if there is some statistical thing I could glean. Maybe they could make it in maybe that's an idea we could pass off to Pete from Jigsaw Trading is add the ability to log in things about that day so that I could go back and search for all of the days that were like this. How do I do? And track it that way. That would be really nice. Okay, well, they have still not really gone through, and I did not see like a very clear like they're done. But when we ticked back down to 23.5, and now this last tick right there, I think that if you were still in at this point, you would definitely have to be getting out at you know, +3. That would be +3, or would that be +4? No, that would be +4 at this point. I think if I was still in, I'd need to be hitting at the +4 or 5. You could maybe, let's see if they get filled here at 23.5. I think we may be to the point where it's hard to get filled on the offer. But let's see, there might be volume both ways. So there's an uptick. Nope. I'll maybe reset them here, because there is some spreading going on here too, isn't there? Okay, so you could have been, but then notice a lot, they really hit that. Now that one was interesting because there was a lot of absorption there at 23. There was definitely a lot of absorption there at 23, but they hit it down hard too. That volume came in very quickly. Now on the bid, the bid is not really firming up per se. They probably couldn't survive another hit. And probably gonna tick down there. Yeah, okay. Well, they ticked down and they tried to push it down and it held. And you know, now here at the 23, you know, you have like a 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio. The risk-reward here makes a lot more sense now. Because we'd be risking down, we said it was 22, and now and on the upside, maybe we could get 25. And then we wouldn't even necessarily need a strong trend. It could just be like they make another push. They're able to touch 25 and then they're done. That sort of a thing. I'm not too sure though about my probability here. I think to take that trade it would have to be at least 50-50. And the amount of selling that we took there concerns me. And I'm not necessarily sure that was really as strong of a signal as it may appear. You know, because I've been working off of this whole, you know, seeing absorption. Absorption is not necessarily your signal. You want to see exhaustion. So I think that I would feel better if we tick down to 23, 22.5, and then they stopped there. We saw an exhaustion signal of some sort. Well, we could buy 22.5. That would be even better, because then we're only like risking one or two ticks. Bitcoin continues to be nothing but sell, sell, sell. Look at that. Okay, so there are a few buys in there in the past, what, 15 minutes? Yeah. When you compare the big buys to the big sells, though, in the past, like, hour, this has been going since 6:30, right? It's ridiculous. And the selling is very much... When we were buying on Friday, I think that we tended to hover around that between 150 and 50 in delta on GDAX. So that we're at negative 130, and in an area that we've been relatively balanced. That is very negative. They are really selling Bitcoin hard this morning. In fact, I want to take a picture of that. Let's make this as big as we can. And maybe even actually reduce the font size a little bit. There we go. Bring this thing back up. And do that. And let's see here how. There we go. And we'll just leave it like that. Okay, so now that we're seeing icebergs, another thought I'm having is now that we're seeing icebergs, I think that we have to say that we're back into range mode because we're seeing a lot of iceberging here. So if we were to take a trade at like 22.5 or 22, I don't know if I would be going for the full 4 or 5 anymore. And especially since we have the E-minis opening up in 15 minutes. Well, the peak does correspond with the peak in the E-mini. On Bitcoin, is your target still 4K? Roughly. So I can just give you an exact number here. Our velocity is about 61 right now. So if we were at 50 times velocity, that would be 3,000. So last time we went to 40, so 61 times 40, you get 2440. Let me tell you what I'm seeing here, and this isn't like going beyond the numbers now. I remember, so just to walk through the context, even though I know that especially you, Dave, are well aware of this context as you've been a pretty dedicated follower. I predicted that we were going to move up to a dramatically overbought signal on my indicator, which would mean that we would be up to 150 times the velocity. And when we got up there to like 9,500, we saw a pretty strong sell come through. And when that happened, we were sitting here in the chart going like, well, wow, this has worked almost like clockwork. But when that happened, sentiment-wise, reading Bitcoin, I saw something else happen. And part of it was the way that they mess with altcoins. See, especially with Bitcoin Cash, you kind of saw this thing where like, okay, Bitcoin Cash was moving up, and it didn't just move up, it moved up very dramatically. And Ethereum did the same thing. You just saw some really strong buying in some of those altcoins, and like the whole sentiment was like, yay, we're above 9,000, we could take out 10,000, maybe the bear market is over. Okay, there was a strong sell there in ZB, by the way. Two ticks down all at once. That could be like a reversal, but geez, that was pretty interesting one. Anyways, when you read on Bitcoin, like all of the news that I was reading was very positive, and it was a lot of like, this isn't actually new news, or this isn't actually significant news. It was like somebody was intentionally trying to push positive news stories, like they were trying to create the bull market. And all these people come in, and meanwhile, I'm looking at my indicator and I'm like, we're overbought. Like, what is the reason to buy here? And so that sentiment to me really said, hey, you're 100% right. This is a bull trap, because it seems to me like so much of the herd is buying right now in a spot that looks really bad. And now that we're selling here, you can see that the selling is pretty strong. There's pretty big sell orders, and I think that we really may be seeing a lot of big players selling. And there's another thing that I want to talk about, and that is that one of the things that I continue to see in the stories was like, oh, big bank or big institution, this or that, is opening up a crypto desk. Like Goldman Sachs is opening up a cryptocurrency desk. And I was always wondering whenever that happens, it's like, oh, okay, so I don't know this guy, but I wonder what they're doing over there and who they're putting on it and what technology people they're putting on it and stuff like that. And if I was there and I was talking to that guy, I would be like, I hope you're selling it. And that was kind of when it dawned on me. I was like, some players that are new probably don't know a lot of these things. And so I wonder how many big institutions you actually saw get in up there. And if it's a small guy, like me, $500 in my portfolio that's sitting on GDAX. If I lost all of that, then I lose it, and it's okay. So like, I could hold forever if I needed to, but a big institution can't do that. Big institution is going to have to puke. So I wonder how many big guys got in there. And I when I look at the numbers and I see the target is around 3K or so, 3 to 4K. That's like an 80% decline. How do you get that big of a decline? But then when you look at the basically the sentiment and the imbalance that you have here, is it very quickly that it's not just that it's totally possible, but that a lot of people are going to get hurt. So that's my thoughts on Bitcoin right now. I could be wrong. They could just turn around and just blow through 10K, but I really think that this is the start of a bear run. And I was looking at margin. I can't go short with my $500 in Bitcoin, but I really wish I could. I really wish I could. Especially if they get below like 8,500. At that point, you're starting to go into free fall, and you could just put a short on and just hold it. You know? It could be very ugly. Could always short with 5% or so. Well, yeah, but the only place that I know of that I can register as a US customer, and mind you, I know that I could like get a proxy and get on BitMEX or somewhere like that, but I feel like that because of that I got this indicator thing and streaming this live, and I feel a responsibility to make sure that I do everything proper, because when this all works out, I just say when all this works out like it should happen. I want to stay positive, but I really do feel like that this strategy is working out, and it's a effective enough strategy that hey, maybe somebody will write a book about this. So, anyways, I feel like that because of that, we definitely have to make sure that we do everything by the book. So I don't want to do a proxy or anything like that. So the only place that I see that's accepting US customers is Poloniex. And we were just talking about it this morning, and for Poloniex, I think you have to have 5,000 minimum margin in order to trade. So I can't go short. But we can watch it, and we can say, and I do know that there are guys in our Bitcoin channel that have been short, and they should be starting to make money now. Kraken. The Kraken, my recollection was when I looked at Kraken that they were no longer accepting US customers. Or was that the one that I was just talking about? Oh, no, wait. You're right. No, there's Poloniex and Kraken. You can't short Bitcoin on Poloniex? Oh, they lied to me. Wait. Let's come here. Look, I had a thread. Okay. That's you. I made a post on the Bitcoin subreddit. And I asked, okay, places short for US customers without a proxy. Yep. And so the first thing that they say is, Bitfinex, BitMEX, OKEX, BitMEX. Yeah, and that's like, okay, yeah. None of those accept US customers, you morons. Like, did you read the original question? Because the whole thing was they have to accept US customers, and none of those do. I think Kraken does, except for New York. Okay, so Kraken, you might be right. So Kraken and Poloniex. And then let's search here. Kraken is a European-based exchange, right? Yes. Oh no, it is based in the US. Okay, so Kraken does count. But what is their margin requirements? That's the next question. Kraken margin requirements. Trading leverage and margin. Blah 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 blah. How to do it. What levels are offered? You can do 3 to 1. I open the margin. Where do funds come from? That doesn't say. Yeah. Soylent saying you can short on Kraken too. So the question is then, I can't find it. What is the minimum account balance that you need to have in order for them to allow you to trade on margin? Can you do it with just $500? Oh wait, so Dave has said a bunch of stuff. Yeah, Kraken has a max of 3.5, so they allow like 3 or 3.5. What I read just there was 3.5, but here. What levels of leverage are offered? They offer up to 5 times leverage, actually. But I mean, it would be silly to allow anybody with an account to trade leverage, right? So there must be a limit. Silence, I'm typing something. Okay, they're looking for me. And when you find out, please show me how you found it, because it concerns me a little bit that the exchanges don't have this information out, like in their, I would have a page that would be, like trading requirements. That's the way it is in futures. They say like what your minimum account can be and stuff like that. But with the Bitcoin exchanges, it's like this is secret information or something. That's how I feel, at least. Mm-hmm. Well, it does look like you could have bought the 22. Did they touch 21.5 there for a moment? They did. So, just looking at treasuries here to kind of maybe get back on subject while you guys are doing that. So I'm glad we took that segue, because I kind of think I would be tempted to try and have clicked into something, and I don't think that those would have been good trades. But I am noticing, number one, the cumulative delta that we saw, and it really was like all positive up and through here. You see that? And we've come back almost completely. So coming back that much in volume kind of says to me that the large institutions aren't making a move in here. It was just traders, and we just happened to get a really good trade in. We got in really early and we got out really early, and we did well because of that. But the other thing that I find interesting is that there was a pretty big sell there in ZB. It was like that must be almost 1,000 contracts there. So that is kind of like could be stopping us here at the view up. We could see a view up bounce. I don't know. Oh, Leon Davik is posting some stuff. What's he showing me here? Kraken. Okay, so he has like tier 0 deposits and withdrawals are not available. That's at 0. Tier 1, you can withdraw $2,500 in crypto at a time. Okay, so that tells you what your deposit and withdrawal limits are. And margin. And you get margin enabled. Okay, so it's saying here that basically, well, I mean it's a little vague. They don't have a minimum account balance here listed. They just say that, if you have like all of this stuff confirmed on your account, like your phone number, country of residence, date of birth, and your full name is what they have on there. If you have all of those things, then margin is available to you. So that's the first one, and then what's this one? Oh, that's just tier 4. So that is definitely the first bit that's helpful, but it still doesn't tell us. For 500 USD, you probably don't need to verify KYC. Yeah, well, yeah. Hmm. Okay, so David is saying that they neither appear to have a minimum, at least from what they can find. So that could mean that they have a minimum, but they just don't list it. So probably we would have to have an account, and we would have to put some Bitcoin over there to test it and see. So this kind of brings up um, the other thing that I don't like. If I want to short Bitcoin, I have to own Bitcoin. Isn't that like the most like what? You have to own it but that's the way that it works, is that none of them are doing margin trading on dollars. Like if you have $5,000 in your account, then you can go short Bitcoin. No, what they do is they'll hold it against the Bitcoin that you have in your account. It's like, what? Oh, now Soylent is telling me that Kraken you can short based on fiat? Hmm. Can you actually make fiat deposits on Kraken? So I thought that oh yeah, so that's the question, is can you make fiat deposits on Kraken, and can you make fiat withdrawals on Kraken? Because my understanding was that only Gemini and Coinbase slash GDAX allowed you to withdraw fiat in the US. Was I misinformed? Is there Kraken allows you to do it too? Both. Okay, so Soylent says that they do. So then we're saying there's 3. There's Gemini. Oh, you have to be verified. Of course you have to. I mean, everybody, you have to be verified for it, sure. Oh, sure. I guess you're right. They allow the withdrawals. I when I read that, I assumed that was just like in Bitcoin, but there is a withdrawal, and there's a withdraw fiat, and there's a withdrawal crypto. So here in this one, you have to be tier 2 to be able to withdraw actual dollars, which means that you have to verify your address. Well, if I was doing it, I would be at tier 3. So maybe it's not. Okay. So then what I will do is when I get into work today, I will create an account on Kraken and we will see what it does. Yeah. I might as well verify my address. And if I might as well, I mean, all of the other ones that I've done and I had to give them my ID and stuff, I'm okay doing that. So. So I'll get an account on Kraken and we'll see if it will allow me to deposit some funds. I think I'm going to keep the stuff that I have on Coinbase. I don't know. The problem I have, so let me go into something else. Let me see what you guys think about this. So, now that's Bitcoin Cash. Now we want Bitcoin. Okay, so here we do it on 6-hour bars. Okay, so when we were back here, I got like a 100. No, it was right here. I got a 100, and it said come down. But when I was over here, it said, yeah, so ignore that. I was here and I said, okay, we had a blow off top in December, and so now we should go to the other side of the indicator, which would be around 50, and 50 was around 8,000, and so I said, okay, you know, I want to buy at 8,000. So that's where I did it at, and it actually went quite a bit against me after I bought, right? And I think I even had to buy some a little after that, somewhere around here or something like that. So let's say that we get this again and it goes to the 3,000. And I want to use my margin to margin buy. I think that would be the way that I would want to play it. You know, how do you work that out? Because man, it can, especially when they're selling, it can just go so much further against you. And then the other thing is that I thought that this was it right here. This one right here. See, it was 8. I said, okay, you buy it right here. And then of course it went like almost 2,000 against us. And I don't think that with margin that we would be able to handle that, would we? So I've been thinking, well, maybe there needs to be like a certain amount of time, like you let the indicator hit, you wait 2 weeks, and then you buy with margin. With 3 times margin, you will not get margin called based on your model. Well, I mean, it goes 2,000 against you. It depends on how much margin you're using, isn't it? So if we bought at 8K, $500 worth of it at 8K, so that's like what 1 Bitcoin is 8,000 and 500. So that's gonna be like 625. 625, right? Yeah. Of a Bitcoin. So eight. He left a bunch of he's like, I left a bunch of messages in YouTube, ignore most of them. Yeah, okay, so there's that. You can put any coin in the account. No, so if I'm along at, oh, I know what I need to do. I need to say it went 2,000 against us times 0.0625. Oh, I see what you're saying. So if I had gone long there, and I was only long one time, 1x, that's 125. So if I'm long 3 times, then the maximum that I lose is 375. But then that goes back to, where do you get the margin call at then? Do you get the margin call when it's a zero? If you only have $500 in there, That's why I'm like, there has to be a minimum. I mean, in futures, it's like to trade this, you have to have a minimum of $500 in your account, or we won't let you trade it, So they must have something similar. But they probably don't actually list those specifically. They probably just tell it to you when you're trying to put the order in. Yeah, this was a good strong buy there, and they actually took it up too. Okay, well, it didn't hold that second tick. But yeah, we will get an account at Kraken, and we'll see what we can see, once you actually have an account. We'll do that later, because I don't want to be typing and trying to fill out all this stuff and trying to make sure that I don't actually show anything on my screen that would be personally identifying information. Ooh, and we need to find a better way to journal, because Penzu restricts all of the features that we need to paid accounts. Hmm. Okay, we're okay on that front. My wife was messaging me, and I was like, "Oh no, is something wrong?" But it looks like she's okay. She was just complaining. Okay, so since the open, the E-mini has been on a pretty good run. Could they move up to here, like 2680? Then you're just gonna start encountering some longer term resistance. That line right there. I wonder, I'm a little confused as to why is the E-mini going up? They don't even seem to know either. But we do have some Fed speakers this morning. At 12. Oh, FOMC member Bostic was speaking this whole time? Oh man, I totally missed that. We get some good numbers later this week, don't we? Powell is speaking early morning tomorrow. Schultz, no. Yes, PPI on 6:30 on Wednesday. PPI and CPI. So very, very important numbers for us. I don't know. So if we had gotten long at 22, we did say a couple of times, hey, maybe you could get long at 22. We would have had some opportunities to get at least one tick out of it. But given what I'm seeing at the moment, it really looks to me. So number one, on Friday we had a blow off top. And then we had a pretty significant downtrend. Now today, I would say at that point that the auction direction is down, and we started out by a pretty strong bubble up move against the auction direction that was not able to reach like its actual target. It didn't touch 25. It did break a new high though. And now we've ticked below the VWAP. There's some potential here that we could sell off, especially if the E-mini continues doing what it's doing now. The problem is that the E-mini is going to start encountering some resistance at like 2680. So we gotta be careful with that one. I think I'm gonna step away for a little bit. Just to like refuel on the water because I'm like super thirsty today. So be right back. Okay, so ZB definitely tried taking a dive there. 143.16. Somebody's gonna have to put another order in there at 16, guys. You can't just leave it at 666. This is not okay. It's just not okay. Okay, there you go. But the E-mini did reach the long-term resistance that I was talking about and pivoted. So now we don't know if it's going to, the E-mini is going to come back a bunch and then go higher, or what it's going to do. And since it seems like the E-mini is the key driver here, anytime that the E-mini is a key driver, I think we have to rein in our targets. Unless it's like the E-mini is going down and it's really, really bad, then maybe you can ride the treasuries for some big runs. Oh, that's great. Yeah, my wife is a flight attendant, and today security told her that her purse looked suspicious. So she got searched hardcore. They rummaged through her purse for 10 minutes. Huh, well, that's interesting. I wonder why they thought I was so suspicious. Okay, so there's the E-mini came back and busted a new high there very, very quickly. I'm just looking here in CN 19.5. The Friday's high was the same as this. Well, was actually went to further than the overnight high, so 18. Oh my, there are orders down there. I am now very tempted to go short. Okay, so that was a strong uptick. I don't know how I feel about this, and a strong downtick. Okay, so that says to us that there appears to still be some big players in here. And what are we seeing in bonds? Alligator mild support for sure, but doesn't unwind much. Only back to Friday's close. Look like more upside possible, though. Agree it depends on equities again. Oh, by the way, where have you been, alligator? Let's stretch. Okay, so the buyers held the 21.5 for now. Now we're in a zipper here. So an awful spot to take a trade. Wow. And that time when they sold it down, 446 on the offer. So they're pretty insistent about selling it, or at least it appears at the moment that the seller is bigger. But they're both pretty big here. Oh look, now the bid is strengthening up. I don't know. So there was a strong sell there too. Look at the bubble in ZF. 5,000. It's all selling and they just held it. I'm starting to feel a little sleepy. So I think just sitting here and having not taken any trades, it's kind of starting to lose my focus. Really like the 5 ticks today though. I think that I'm just gonna stick with that. Well, they haven't quite broke out from this 21 area, but definitely wouldn't want to be taking a trade in there. And then I'm also concerned about like this 19.5 area. Really, this whole area seems kind of looks to me like it could be difficult action, this whole area. They are net short now though, so we definitely could not be taking any longs. And they're just giving you an opportunity to play the breakout at 20.5 and maybe a trap. Hmm. Hunsu Huang. How do you know they are net short? Good question. So the main reason we know is here was the cumulative delta starting from the beginning of this session. We came up and then we came back down and now we are lower. Okay, so I have this indicator. It's called, if you go back on the Patreon far enough, there's a link where you can download this. but I've created this column here, and basically it says this is telling us what was the cumulative delta last time we touched that price compared to now. So we are essentially, if I really zoom in here, we're essentially, we're essentially 11,000 contracts short from the high. But they've been building some volume here at 20.5. So that's why I don't like this area, is because of this bump here on my chart. Now that's only in the 10-year. When you look at it in the 5-year, notice how almost everything is red. So what they're saying is we're actually now more short than we were when we were at the low in the overnight session. And so that's just a really quick indication of, are we more or less short? Make sense? Now you got to remember that for every sell there's a buy. So like when you look at like total net contracts, are they long or short? The total net contracts is always equal. Okay. But when you look at market orders are net short. And market orders tend to win out, tend to be the most indicative of where direction is going. And when they're not, we don't trade so well. But those are range-bound conditions. And then, of course, the other question is, are the big players short or not? Because you could have an imbalance where one big guy is short and everybody else is long. That sort of a thing. Those are some imbalances that we need to watch out for. But I still say, granted this move in ZB, because we had a pretty big sell there, and then we had another pretty big sell right here. So that does give me pause. But despite that, I am still of the opinion that the large institutions are not making a large play here. I believe that we came back off of the highs. We had a good trend up. We came back off of the highs because the E-mini is pushing up. And cumulative deltas are relatively flat here now from last time we were here. And so, of course they've built up some volume at this price here because we've traded back and forth. But then when you look at it from here, we're actually only 1,000 contracts different, which is like nothing, anything less than 5 is insignificant in cumulative delta. So I don't think we have any real trading action here anymore. It could be biased just because I already got my profit and I don't want to screw it up, Okay, well, they took it up that time. They actually did pull it out of there. And the E-mini appears that it may be about to drop a little bit. Yes, okay, cool. That answered his question. Good deal. So if there's anybody there watching on Twitch, well, I mean, there's 4 people watching on Twitch, but if you're in Discord, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a ping in Discord, and when you hear it on Twitch, you pong back to me. I'm going to do it here in 3, 2, 1, ping. We'll see if the new settings on Twitch actually does make it faster or not. Ooh, alligator's about to say something. Mm. Anthony Crudeli, I just put my head down and did what I believed in. I'm trading crypto assets and doing futures radio shows on blockchain because I believe in it, not here to convince anyone to trade crypto assets or to believe in blockchain. Check that is for each person to find out. So what was this, what was the chain here? In response to, what's happening in the crypto industry reminds me of when I first started to electronically trade ESF. Pit traders and many financial people said I was crazy. I didn't care what they said because trading electronically was better for me and I was the one paying my bills, not them. Wonder how you're going to feel in a week when we're lower. Now, oh my, so we missed something big. We missed something big. Look at this. Look at this in Bitcoin. We're now almost 500 contracts short. How did that happen? Oh my, okay, so there was some big ones to try and bust through 2,000, I guess. Sorry, 92,000. Is there any other big ones down here further back? No. I'm going to post that one on Twitter. Will it allow me to add an image like that? Nah, I have to like save it. Lame. Well, we're not doing anything. I guess I could bullet paint and just do it cool, you know. Pictures. Tweet. Okay. Well, that's some pretty crazy heavy selling, guys. Okay, so there's a T-bills auction soon. We always forget about that treasure. Treasury direct. Misspelled it. Upcoming auctions. Okay, so we got... Oh, we got a couple of them today. $13-week and 26-week. Closing time is the non-competitive closing time is 9:30 our time, so in about an hour. This one, same thing. Sure has been slow since, hasn't it? Off the open, we got a good 8-tick move up. And now, since then, the last 45 minutes or so, we came back and then we've been stuck in a 4-tick range. Oh, 4 minutes ago, Donald Trump, the United States does not need John Kerry's possibly illegal shadow diplomacy on the very badly negotiated Iran deal. He was the one that created this mess in the first place. Planning about the Mueller investigation possibly going through to the midterms. Ooh. Okay, well, there's another good uptick. What do you know? So aren't we glad that we didn't trade down in that area, though? Well, so now they're going back and forth here again. Oh, I asked John Grady a question and he responded back to me. What did he say? Icebergs only matter if the context is right for them to matter. If the market is slow and spreaders are pegging the treasuries to a couple prices, there will be icebergs. It doesn't mean the market is moving any further in that direction. They're not necessarily chasing anyone out. They're moving heavy size, which is based on spreading and hedging in the futures and cash markets. Spotting an iceberg can be useful at times, but only if the setup is already there for it to make an impact. Right. But I mean, like, I was asking him because we had this one where it was like, there was an iceberg there, and I kind of seems like it mattered, but they went against it like 4 ticks first. So he's saying, I guess he's saying that you see an iceberg, it's probably hedging. It may not actually affect the treasuries in the short term, and I think that's probably, I guess that's probably what happened was there was spreading. It didn't affect treasuries in the short term, and people still auctioned through it. But then the E-mini started going down, and that's why they did the hedge, and then it mattered. That's how I read that. I mean, that's what happened at least. Well, this bid is holding strong. ADX is now basically below 10. I'm gonna mess with this again a little bit more. We like make this big. Let's mess with this. Let's mess with it. There's ADX. Five. And this one. Make this one 30. Five. Lie. Sounds like an totally kill Ninja Trader. Okay. Okay. Let's move this 15-1 down to here. Okay. So if we just look over these past few days, that 5 definitely gives us something a little bit more actionable. And it says here that 20. So when did we get below 20? 20 kind of seems to be, from what I've read, seems to be like stopping area. Okay. So it had to be in there for a little while before it did it. Now 30, especially 35. Now it's saying, don't trade. Don't trade. And it wouldn't have given us a signal to trade until about here. But it's also interesting when you can see it moving up. So it's almost like you want to have this moving up, you know, before you want to take a trade, you know? Now this one tells you almost nothing. I actually think that the shorter term one seems to matter more. Now what happens if we like really change it? Like, okay, so let's get rid of all these. And add another one. It's literally only one. One doesn't breaks the indicator. Okay, 2. Well, very interesting. So that tells us where there's upticks. This one shows us that that move was really strong. So there actually is some usefulness in it being only 2. But it almost never gets below 20, so maybe 3 or 4 might actually be even better. Let's see. Where is it? Where'd it go? There it is. 3. Okay. A little better. It'll definitely get a little bit of a better read, but now it's starting to be like the same thing but noisier. So I actually think that that 5 is really good. Now the other one I want to test is like if we do like an even number, like so if we do 4, let's try 4 first, and then we'll try 8. Because things tend to move in ticks of 4, I think that a 4 and an 8 and a 16 on this indicator might be a little bit more helpful. So yeah, notice there that 4 and 5 are almost exactly the same. That's interesting. So then if we come here to the 8, let's change that 5 to an 8. Okay. I like the 8. I like the 8 better than the 14. Actually, I like it better than this one too because it's not as noisy. But I also want to know, at what point would it say, okay, so if we get above 20, and at what point did that happen? Right about 21. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ticks. Almost. Okay, so this one ticks, the 4 ticks a little bit earlier, but it's got a little bit more noise in it. Although through here it wouldn't have mattered. Well, I think we should stick with the 8. Move that. And we'll bring it back down to size. So now, interestingly enough, it is cumulative delta was quite significantly higher there, wasn't it? So they're actually pushing highs of day in cumulative delta, but the trend has basically all but died, and the E-mini is falling out now. Oh man, I just really hate the action when the E-mini is the dominant factor in trading. They're saying, or we're saying we're stuck in the 2680 and they can't make it through there, then it might be hard to get much beyond that. We still got Bitcoin. Despite all this buying through here, light that up so that you can see. So they had a sell. I think that here at this point that they really were. I mean, look, when you get past these VWAP bands and everything, that's too much. So I'm not surprised to see them coming back, and I think that they might make it back to the 9350 in Bitcoin. But what's going to happen at that point? They're going to get there, and they're still going to be net short by probably almost 500 contracts. Why is Tucker saying not all bond traders are also trading the ES though? I guess maybe he's saying not everybody is looking at the ES. No, it seems to me though that when we're having a move, and I look at it and it's like the E-mini moves first, and then we move, it's always crappy trading for me. That's all I'm saying. There doesn't seem to be like something else involved here, you know, like I don't see like a big piece of news or a super key technical level that's just been taken out or something to be driving treasuries one direction or another. And so it's like when that happens, then it's dominated by correlations. And when the correlations are dominating, you can get moves, significant moves even off of it, but they like fade them. So like the E-minis going down, treasuries will go up, but you'll see a lot of selling along the way, like this one right here. See? So it's like they made a tick, but then so it's like really hard to get something out of it, and you have to take your profits like almost immediately. You don't get like super strong runs where it just starts mowing over everybody when it's the correlations that are significant. Well, we're now coming up on 8:30. I could trade for another 30 minutes, but I don't really see a reason to. Of course, I'll probably get into work and like instantly regret it. Bitcoin charts are already up. Like I said, it's kind of unusual for them to have like a huge push, you know, to the edges of these VWAP bands and then do it again in the same day. So we may be done with the selling in Bitcoin for now. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to give the bulls a little bit of hope who are going to, you know, come back a little bit, and then they might push. And when they push, the next push, if I'm correct, and they don't get above, say, 9,500, then the next push down is going to be particularly ugly. So prepare yourselves. Could be wrong. And I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just kind of trying to predict what I think is going to happen, okay? But I sold everything. I would like to be short, but I've determined as of yet that it's not safe for me to do so because I don't understand enough and I don't have the ability to on the exchange. But for those of you that are short, good for you. Is that it? I think that's it. Okay. Well, oh, but that's not it because we have to look here. So we got a trade here. We took one trade. We got 5 ticks out of it. And when you look at it, we caught it right here at the VWAP at 21, just above the VWAP. I think we got a pretty good spot. and it was a slow bubble up, and I really could have given it up anywhere around here, especially at like the 22 half, but it did go through, and we took it off at 23 half, and you can see they did tick through a little bit. I don't think we would have gotten filled at the top 24 half. So only 500 contracts went through there, but we probably could have put it at 24. Probably could have tried to go for that. So next time I think we'll do that. But overall, I'm really happy with today. Read that trade perfectly, almost perfectly. So that's much better trading than what we've been doing. I mean, granted, this is our kind of move, but you know, we're much more on the ball in terms of direction and stuff. So I like that. And I also like what this we're learning from this ADX watching this. So good deal. So that's our review for today. And now I can tell you goodbye, and I will see you tomorrow.